Good morning. It's InStory Live. I'm Devorah, your host, a soul story coach, storyteller, and founder of the InStory Way. And this morning, my word for today is open. You've noticed that I often get a certain word or focus each morning. And if you're paying attention and you're following these, you'll see that I share on these videos kind of the spiritual healing downloads that I get in the morning. And hi, Mary Lou. This is the work I do to raise my energetic vibration, to shift my energy, and to become more expanded. Hi, Georgette. To what's happening in my life and in the world. And so today, the really strong message I got was the word open. How do you open? What does it mean to open yourself up? What is an opening? And how do you notice what's shut down, what's closed, and what are you going to do to open it up? And so one of the things that I teach all the time is my InStory guided process. It has the acronym STATE. And it's one of many, many practices that you can do to shift and open to what's possible for you. So I call the work I do the InStory Way. So how can you open to the new way that's in front of you? Like if you imagine what does closed look like and feel like for you? Just take a moment and kind of feel what's an image that you get for something that feels closed or blocked. And then play with imagining it opening. It disappears. A door opens. Something dissolves. A block is lifted up. What happens when you open up? Okay, so that's where I started. And then I also want to share with you a beautiful teaching from one of my teachers. His name is Rabbi Shlomo Katz. He lives in Israel. And what's wonderful is he broadcasts his teachings, his Torah teachings from Israel over Facebook. So I want to give over a teaching that he gave over that is something so fundamental to my life experience and to what I teach. So if you followed me, you know that I teach that there is only fall down, get up. I teach all the time all kinds of techniques for how do you get back up, right? Today it's open. How do you open? But if you go on my website, you'll see my really amazing, that I love so much teaching, called How to Get Out of the Goo. Super powerful, important teaching. And but getting back up is a really important one. So Shlomo Katz was teaching about, there's a story in the Bible, in the Torah, that Moses is instructed to build what we call the Mishkan, which in English has a weird word called the tabernacle. But it's the tent of meeting, and it has a couple of different words that it's called. One is Mikdash, which comes from the word holy, and one is Mishkan, which has two concepts that it draws from. One is to dwell within, Mishkan, and the other is to pull forth, to draw forth, Moshech Kan in Hebrew. And this idea of being pulled towards it is what he was talking about. This feeling of a feeling that you are being pulled towards God, towards your awareness of God's presence. And he asked the question of his class, over the last 24 hours, have you felt a sense of being aware of God's presence in your life? And they were reluctant to answer. And he said, if I asked you if you believed in God, you'd say yes. But are you aware of God's presence in your life? Now, Georgette, who's listening, I know will give a resounding yes, because she lives on that plane. But for a lot of people, it's a translation to realize that what you are experiencing as you grow and shift and transform, that is God's presence in your life. And I think part of it is learning to name our experience as God's presence. So that was interesting. And then he said that there's a teaching that when Moses was given the instructions for how to build this Mishkan, this tent of meeting, that he had to practice. And it says there's like a story on the story that says he would put it up and it fell down, and for 7 days he had to put it up every day, or some even said he put it up 3 times a day, and every time it fell down and he had to put it up again. And in order for it to stay together, it took him that many times of putting it up again and again. And we have an expression in Hebrew, a righteous person falls down 7 times and gets up 8. And maybe it comes from, we were talking about, maybe it comes from that. And he said, if you think about your life, you will see that you know, if you're here right now and you're listening to me, you can see that you have kept it together. You've put things back together when they've fallen apart. And if you take a minute and look at how do you know that you're keeping it together? And he said such a beautiful thing. He said, you know how you know if you're keeping it together? Is because if you haven't given up. That's it. If you haven't given up, then you're keeping it together. It's this world in our life, it's not supposed to just go, it's all the same, all fine, doesn't change. That's not what our souls come into this physical world for. We come in here to learn and grow, and as hard as it is to deal with, so to speak, is that our struggles do become our wisdom. They are how we grow. And so if you have had a feeling that you have been falling down and getting up and falling down and getting up, well, then that means you are an elevated person. I said to my husband at breakfast, I said, see, this falling down and getting up, it's an elevated state. He just burst out laughing, right? Because it doesn't feel like an elevated state. But here's the thing. This is why we learn deep content. Yesterday I taught... and I taught on Wednesday in my year-long group, but I think I went over this a little bit yesterday in my Facebook Live, and I'm going to tell it to you briefly now. I like to teach you processes you can do in the morning so that you can get back up. What if you wake up and you don't feel great? What if something sucks? What if something is really hard? What if something didn't work? What do you do? I bump into this all the time. Oh my gosh, nothing is ever going to work. And you watch me and you're probably thinking everything she does works. So that's the funny part, is that we often look around and we think everybody else has it together except us. But here's the thing. We're all putting it back together over and over, because as soon as you grow, you're trying to erect the next thing that has to fall down 7 times for you to figure out how to keep it going. And then that works, and then you have the vision of the next thing. So if you're visionary, guess what? You're going to fall down and get up. And if you go and listen to my Get Out of the Goo, you'll see the 3 steps of all creative endeavor. And if you know those, you will never stay stuck. It's just on the front page of my website, DevorahSpillman.com, and just put your name and your email in and you'll get this very powerful teaching. So yesterday I also talked about an order in your morning to go through, where you feel your connection to God. You learn something. Like this morning, I learned this teaching from a teacher that I value. You can read it in a book, listen to it on a podcast, whatever it is. Learn a deep teaching in the morning. And then feel your feelings. Tap into who you love, that you are loved. Feel that you are loved by God purely, completely, because God made you, because you exist. What a concept, right? And feel who you love. Feel the feeling of love. It is core. Feel it in your heart. Reconnect to being loved and worthy and good. And if you bump into the opposite, feel it for a moment or two. You don't have to feel it for a year. Feel it for a few moments, but don't shut it down either. And then those 3 steps of feeling your connection to God, learning something deep that nourishes your soul, gives you wisdom and strength and guidance, feeling loved, healing, feeling emotions, healing them, letting them go, tapping into love. And then you can move into service. What are you going to do in the world? Because you're going to be in better shape. Hi, Laurel. You're going to be in better shape if you go through this process of being connected to Source, tapping into wisdom, feeling love in your heart, and then moving forward into service in your day. Whatever your work in the world is that day, move into it with this more expanded energy. And today, that focus, besides those steps, and I have a whole write-up on those steps that I did, and if you're interested, you can private message me. But today, it's open. And you know how I am a great lover of creating acronyms. And this is just a fun technique for you to take a word and use it as a guidance for a process. And so I've taken to when a word comes to me. So it's first the concept of the word, right? Open. Spend your day being more open. Opening up what's blocked. Opening to the new. And so take the word open, write it down vertically, and then open your, then start with the word open, right? Starting with that, open to opportunity, then open to peace and perspective, perception, open to energy, enthusiasm, to the extraordinary, and then open to the new, open to the now moment. Okay, this is how you use a word. So you use the concept of open, and then use each of the words in the word open, and go through your day and open up to a new opportunity, open up to kind of a feeling of practicing peacefulness, practicing perception and new perspectives. Open your energy, open to enthusiasm, open to the extraordinary around you, and open to the new, open to the now moment. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I love these kind of things. I love when they come to me. They're a creative expression for me, and I share them with you to encourage you to open up to your best self, open up to your soul's calling. Right now, my Path to Purpose project is still running, and if you have not signed up for it, I'm telling you, you completely should sign up for it. Just go to pathtopurposeproject.com or go to somewhere in my world on Facebook, and you'll find it. If you sign up now, you're going to just be able to access the page that has all of the speakers on it and listen in any order that your intuition guides you. These interviews will share stories of what's possible. People who've turned amazing soul passions into work in the world. Opening to joy. Yay, Georgette. In fact, that would be a great thing for everybody to post. What are you opening to today? Georgette is one of my best friends and teachers, and a wise woman of wondrous abilities and a good friend. So what are you opening to today, right? So open up, open to joy, open to love, open to opportunities, to possibilities, open to saying yes, and see what happens. So what are you going to open up to today? I would love to know, and I'm encouraging you to trust the calling of your soul and say yes. Say yes, take a step, take an action, reach out, make a connection, and have an amazing day, a wonderful weekend. Shabbat Shalom for those of you who observe the Jewish Sabbath, and have a blessed, beautiful weekend of joy, and open up to something that nourishes your soul, and go out in the world. Share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, folks.